Once again, my mic is getting to the point where it's getting loose and it's causing problems. Apologies for that. Hey there, strangers. It's time for another 2 p.m. PST Twitch stream. I'm your host, Strange Bro Jim, and today we're going to be going into our listing for today is going to be going over user guidance in Pega. We are going to be releasing some new videos. I'm going to also work on releasing some of the like the new content on my channel, in the sense of I'll be my plan is to upload the Subnautica Below Zero and the Final Fantasy VII playlists. So look forward to that. And then we're going to be playing Subnautica Below, or we're going to be continuing first playthrough of Subnautica Below Zero tonight. So after our first 2 hours. Obviously, I'm having some difficulties with the window not showing the right window right at the moment. There we go. Okay. So as we can see, we're going to be covering these user guidance. We have our first 2 topics here, and then we have the module quiz. Now, according to this, they're really short, so we'll see about that. Maybe we can cover the entire user guidance in this first hour. So let's get started. Case status. Case status indicates the progress of a case towards resolution. For example, imagine that customers try to order a product from the online shopping application, but the entire application lacks user guidance. Without purchase statuses throughout the buying process, it is difficult to track the status of the order. You can set the case status on each stage and any step in the case lifecycle. Pega platform includes standard case status values such as open, pending approval, resolved completed, and you can add custom status values if required. The appropriate case status value. The case status values of your application should hold meaning for your business. Appropriate values complement the other pieces of data associated with a case, so that users receive the most accurate description of the disposition of the case. Ensure that statuses are as consistent as possible across case types and use only as many as minimally necessary. Your choices for case status values should address the following questions. What is necessary for the business to report on while work is in progress? What is necessary for the business to report on after cases are resolved? How might the business want to group cases by status? What are the major events that would trigger a status change? Using more statuses than necessary adds confusion for the end user. A best practice is to have no more than 10 case statuses in the case type. I don't know how true that is, but I'll assume that they know, kind of what they're talking about, concerning that. So, but so let's see. To name case status values, use the prefixes new, open, pending, or resolved. The suffix should indicate a meaningful business context, for example, pending approval or pending fulfillment. All closed cases should use the resolved prefix, for example, resolved completed, resolved withdrawn, resolved canceled. Case status updates. If you set the case status on a stage, Pega platform automatically updates the case status to the value defined for that stage when the case advances to the next stage. In the final case lifecycle stage, you can specify a resolution status. which is the case status that is displayed after all the processes in the stage are complete. In the online shopping application example, configuring the case status to update at each case lifecycle stage provides customers with an idea of the order status at each major case milestone. The shipping stage is the final stage in the case lifecycle, configured with the resolved completed resolution status. During the shipping stage, the case status is pending fulfillment. When the ship order process is complete, the case resolved to resolved completed status. So, automatically updates the case status to the value defined for that stage when the case advances to the next stage. So, when you're, when you're doing this, when you're doing the first new order, the status won't have anything there. But when you move on to the next one, it will change the status to new. So, and then goes up here, pending processing, pending fulfillment, and then resolved completed. So, in some cases, you might want to configure more specific case statuses at the step level. If you set the case status on a step, when the case advances to the step, Pega platform automatically updates the status of the case to the value that is defined for that step. So, so your status isn't set here, so when you move from one stage to the next, then the status will change. But when you do step to step, that's when the status changes. So when you go from fulfillment here to the status there, it'll set the pending fulfillment to the pending shipping. So, although that seems kind of confusing, you would think that the status would be set prior to the stage being set. If you set the case status on a stage, Pega platform automatically updates the case status to the value defined for that stage when the case advances to the stage. Oh, okay, never mind. So when you start up a new when you start up a new stage, that's when the status is set. Okay, I got it wrong. I got it flipped around there. So when you start the stage, that's when the status is set. So this is new, this is pending processing, this is pending fulfillment, and this is resolved completed. It didn't click in my mind because I was like, oh, wait, hold on. When you complete fulfillment and it tries to change the status to pending fulfillment, but when you get to the filling out the information here, it sets it to pending shipping. So it'd be like pending fulfillment for a split second and then goes to pending shipping. It's like, why? Doesn't really make any sense. But no, it's the other way around. But here's a question. Because when you get to this stage, when does it do the resolved completed? Does it get handled at the very start of the first step or at the very end of the last step? Because if it was the end of the last step, then it's like, okay, well, I was kind of right. You do the pending fulfillment, and then it goes, then it switches immediately to pending shipping, which I ask because it's like, well, resolved completed. You would think that resolved completed would happen after pending arrival step here. Once you're done with the pending arrival, it will go to resolve completed, which makes sense, right? But then how does it handle the other statuses? Does it handle it at the very end or at the very beginning? Does it see the step does it like look at the first step and sees, if there's a value there, and then it just basically says, okay, well, we're gonna take the step status, as a priority over the stage status. Um, Not sure. That's what, I'm a little confused about on that one. Let me reread this here again. In some cases, you might want to configure more specific case statuses at the step level. If you set the case status on a step, when the case advances to the step, Pega platform automatically updates the status of the case to the value that is defined for that step. In the online shopping application example, you get feedback that customers want more visibility into when the customer order is ready for shipment and when it ships. So um, that doesn't really help me on order. When does the status get updated? There's no clarity on that, unfortunately. So um, if anybody has a any information along those lines, let me know. Because I would appreciate that. All right. So check your knowledge with the following interaction. You're developing a case type with a systems request that handles roadside assistance services. The systems request case type has the following case life cycle. You want the case status to update at each major case milestone. Where in the following case life cycle do you configure the case statuses? Okay, so um, okay, so here's the four. So obviously submission we're going to open. Validation. Well, resolve completed is here. Um, hmm. Well, here's the problem. They're not really doing a good job in naming the case statuses with their wording on their stages and the like. Um, because there's nowhere here that shows where pending fulfillment is or qualification. So um, you know, so there's a little bit of a problem with the um, overall. Um, where does it? Which one is the qualification? Which one's the fulfillment? So it's like, mm, you know, so I'm gonna make the assumption that because we're doing um, we're validating the request we're pending the qualification of it, and then we're you know the fulfillment of the service. You know, that's what I'm thinking right at this moment in time. Again, I could see both of these words being interchanged, maybe. Um, no, maybe not. I don't know. Because well, it's just fulfillment of the service request or fulfillment of you know resolving the service. That's something that um, really needs to have a little bit more clarity on their wording here. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Well, apparently we are done with case status here. So we'll move on to the next topic. Assignment instructions. Instructions. You want to place an order in an online shopping application. As you advance through the case, you do not receive instructions. The lack of user guidance makes it difficult to determine the purpose of each step and what information you must enter. For example, a step in the application collects customer billing address and credit card details to complete the order. The lack of user guidance causes you to mistakenly enter your shipping address rather than the billing address associated with your credit card. Here's a, enter payment information. Step instructions identify what users must accomplish in that assignment. Add instructions to steps that require users to collect information. Users see instructions when receiving an input prompt in a form. For example, in the collect information step named enter payment information, the application developers add instructions that direct customers to enter a billing address and credit card information. So enter your billing address and credit card information right there. Although I thought there was more of a pop-up or something like that. Oh, I mean, this is okay, this line here, but one would think that once you start like entering in your address, there would be like a little pop-up saying, hey, enter your billing address or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it both works, but check your knowledge with the following interaction. You're creating a case type that handles the onboarding process for new employees. Which case cycle requirement benefits from instructions? A process where new employees enroll in benefits. I mean, I guess. An approve reject step, well, their new employee's manager either approves or rejects the software and hardware request for the new employee. I mean, I don't see why that you would need that, but a collect information step where new employees enter their full name, start date, manager, and department. Well, so these instructions are typically regarded to, uh, you know, work on steps. You know, you know, a step in the application. Um, it doesn't really talk about processes or stages. So that's the clue there. So already I'm looking at this as a possibility. Process doesn't really work. This is a step, but it's just an approval or rejection. So um, I mean, it it could, you know, uh, it might be there, having instructions on that, but either one would hope that the manager understands what they're approving or rejecting. So, um, and stage doesn't work either. So I'm going to go ahead and do the check answer there for that one. Right. Um, which are steps where users enter information. That's, you know, um, you know, the collect information is the common step to handle instructions. So So that's why this works and not the approve reject step. I mean, I could still see you trying to put in some clarity if needed, but yeah. Okay, before I go on to the quiz though, um, I want to see if these the knowledge will um, show any clarity on, why certain anything is wrong. It doesn't, which is unfortunate. I kind of wish that they did, um, you know, explain why there. Let me go on to this topic and see. Let me select this one. Check the answer. Instructions cannot be added to approve reject steps. Okay. Um, First question that I have is why? Why not have the ability to add instructions to an approve reject? Seems like it would be, you know, some extra clarity that might be helpful. So why have um, no possibility of adding instructions to an approve reject step? That doesn't really make any sense to me. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm missing something. Um, but um, okay. So not sure what's going on there, but um, you would think that they they would add that in or allow for that, but you know, now um, we already know that it's for the steps, collect information step, obviously, but instructions cannot be added to a process. Makes sense because I mean a process is a lot of like different information that you can put in there. So um, or you can have like multiple different uh, you can have collect information steps. You can have the approval reject. You can have automation steps. So um, but you know at the same time, I look at it and go, well, maybe the person wants, or um, maybe you can add some like additional instructions to the process or something like that. Make it uh, make it where you can actually have um, you know, specific instructions for the process. Like, hey, this process is all about doing, the following details. So please make sure that you follow it one after another or something along those lines. That kind of thing. Um, and of course the stage is just a lot, you know. Um, you can do something along the lines of, hey, um, this only applies for, or you can only do this when, um, this stage is all about handling claims or something like that, or some details there. But I mean, uh, that's a lot, you know. because the stage might have like different processes. So how do you give instructions for everything on that stage? So, I can understand them kind of going, yeah, no, we're not dealing with that. But so, I don't know. I could see um um I could see them um kind of stepping back from that. So, all right. This is taking a lot of my focus away. Okay, close that down. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the quiz here. Not that many questions, but then again, this module was very short overall. So, a collect information step in a case lifecycle sets the status to pending approval. When does the case status automatically update? So that's kind of a question as well that I was having. Um, when does the case status? Okay, I gotta clarify here. The collective information step in a case life cycle sets the status to pending approval. When does the case status automatically update? And that's at the very beginning of the step. So, not at the end of the step. Case status can be updated automatically, so that's still incorrect. And case status updates at the end of the process containing the step, which is also incorrect because there was, you can have multiple steps and you can have statuses set at each one of those steps. So this is the only correct answer there. So, all right. Drag the phrase from below that best completes the sentence. Adding instructions to step. Defines the step. Mm, not really. Describes the business value of the step. Again, not really. Instructs an application developer how to build a step. Nope, definitely not. Describes to users the action to take in a step. That would be correct. Uh, you know, you could uh, you could try to add instructions, you know, that defines what you need to do in the step. Or, the wording is key in this one. Um, so um, you could have something where it's like, hey, this is the purpose for doing your taxes, in the instruction. It's like, hey, fill this out so your taxes will be processed, you know, appropriately or something along those lines. Okay. So, so you're not necessarily saying, um, how the user takes the action, but it shows, what the step is for, you know. So I don't know. I could see both of these. Both of them could be used, but this is the best answer out of everything here, and definitely not an application developer. So don't that that doesn't really make any sense. So what type of step typically requires contextual instructions? So obviously it's the collect information. Send email is the automation, so that doesn't need any kind of instructions, so nothing there. Um, change stage doesn't need any kind of instructions whatsoever. Um, and the create case, although it's this one is a bit confusing on the language here because it's more, the they're not using a complete, keyword statement here. Okay, it's either create stage, create process, create um, create step. When I see create case, I'm thinking, are they talking about case type? They're not saying case type. They're not saying case life cycle. They're just saying case. So they're a bit. That's causing a little bit of like, why? Why did they do that? Probably to try to throw off the test taker, but still, it's like, um, if you want to potentially cause um, doubt in the mind of the test taker, you want to make sure that the answers are you know as accurate as can be, even though they're the wrong answers. So yeah, it's definitely the correct information. So yay. Okay, so user guidance module has been completed. It was a really quick one. So um, so let's go back to the system architect, and we will look at the next step here. Okay, so it says setting case status 20 minutes. We got 20 minutes left. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that in the next 20 minutes. Especially with the load times. Um, let me look at it. Let me see the um there seems to be quite a few steps here, and well, I mean, not as much as what we did last time, but still, there seems to be a lot, that I'm gonna need to fill in and like. So I think we're gonna just go ahead and save this for tomorrow. Um, because I would also want to try to play around with it a little bit more as well. Try to see, um, like I might add in some extra processes, extra steps in there. Um, do steps and stage comparisons. Like when does the status get changed when you move from stage to stage? When does the status change for steps? That kind of thing. So I wanna kind of really work on that. Um, and if a stage has a status update as well as steps that have status updates, then when does the stage get their status set? You know, um, you know, um, so I want to kind of play around with this a little bit more. So I feel like I want to take like the full hour on setting the case status because I really want to know like when does it handle this? Because um, like let's say we have Here, let me go back to um, well, the user guidance didn't really have a lot of um, it didn't really have a lot in terms of um, possible steps that you could do. Um, I think what I'd like to do would be, really kind of take something that, you know, has like a lot of steps to it, like this one, even parallel steps, I'd want to see um, if it's parallel, when does, you know, when does the status, you know, if you have parallel steps, when does what happens when you have, one step with a status and another step with a status? I don't really know. Are you going to have conflicting statuses at this point? You know, if they're being handled at the same time. Um, Although in this particular instance, they had um, this is being handled by the bot. So, um, but um, for the um, for that one example where the collection step was parallel, I believe it was set for um, there was two different personas. I want to try to see if I can find um, that case type again. Yeah, not here. Um, let's see. Okay, so I'm trying to find that image. Give me a second there, folks. Let me go through this again. There it is. So, um, it doesn't show, you know, um, it doesn't show the personas. One would imagine that there's like two different personas down here, one for facilities, one for IT, and they're kind of handling it in parallel. So, um, does the overall setup, you know, get set for the one that's being worked on at that particular moment in time, or is it only showing the status during that particular step for that particular person? Like, hey, you're in select hardware. The step, the status is, you know, hardware being selected. And it's only being shown to that IT personnel while the facilities is handling their facility setup or something along those lines. I don't really know. Um, that's why I want to, you know, test out um, um, you know, that's why I want to kind of play around with the setting case status challenge here. So that's where we're going to go and close on down for today. Um, we'll go ahead and cover um, we'll cover this tomorrow, and then we'll move on after that, obviously. Um, I don't suspect that we're going to have too many issues with this one. At least I would hope not. Um, I was already contacted about the other challenge. The fact that I was getting duplicate processes. Um, I would hope that they, I informed them that, hey, I'm doing the videos of this. I'm releasing it to YouTube. My process of going through this kind of thing. One would hope that maybe they'd they'd come in and look at that because um, when I hit the so um, when you modified the um, when you are naming the step and when I hit enter, that's when it created another process. You know, the person that replied back to me, they were basically saying, hey, you can just click on out and that will work. But I'm like, well, whenever I want to confirm something, typically you hit enter to confirm that, um, to confirm what you've entered in, typically. Not always, but typically. Um, or if you're doing like multiple different text boxes, you can tab to um, other fields, you know. Um, so it's like, you know, um, so while sure, I could have clicked away from it. That to me doesn't confirm, doesn't always confirm that change. Sometimes it will revert back to its original, depending on what you use really. Depending on the program. I'm not saying that always happens, but still. Um, so, all right. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully, if I can get a like and subscribe, that'd be awesome. Hopefully, I'll see you again next time. Go check out the playlist that I have. There'll be more videos like this one, as well as my gaming videos, if you're interested in any of that. Um, we are working towards our system architect certification. I'm not an official instructor, so don't feel as though I'm the um, I know everything about Pega or anything along those lines. I'm not the foremost expert on this. Like I said, I'm trying to get the system architect certification. So, you know, there's also the business architect certification that you can take if you want to. Um, it has more to do with being the bridge between those that are solely in business, you know, um, like the um, people doing marketing campaigns and like, you know, they have they have a view of what they want to see in the application. They hand it over to the business architect. They say, hey, we want our application to do something like this, and the business architect comes to the system architect and says, okay, this is what we need to do. This is what they're looking for. Let's figure out, you know, how do we build it, kind of thing. What are we needing? Well, not necessarily the system architect. Um, Ideally, they'd probably want to be doing some, going to someone that is um, like a lead system architect or senior system architect, um, so that they, they're skilled as to, what is needed. So not to say that you can't go to a system architect, but you would you would figure that you'd want to look for a lead system architect or a senior system architect because they would have the experience in Pega. So, and obviously, you know, for any of you that are developers out there, or for any of you that are lead system architect or senior system architect, work with your other developers to either A, make sure that they get to system architect, or help them get the senior system architect. Help them, mentor them, please. You know, um, um, because that just improves the business. Okay, overall, you know, all the if someone's having an issue with the system or something like that, and you're not there, like you are out sick, you're on vacation or something like that, do you expect them to give you a call and say, "Hey, we need you to fix this"? No, you definitely shouldn't, um, because you're out of the office, or you're sick, you're on vacation. Why should you spend your time when you're on vacation, you're out of the office, or anything along those lines, to spend your off time to fix the system when it should be, someone else that tries to handle it? You want to try to promote, you know, getting people to the higher tiers. Okay, you want to work on that. Okay, be a mentor to the lower tiers. Okay, I can't stress that enough because it doesn't happen in today's businesses, and it frustrates the living daylights out of me. There was only one time where I actually had someone that had the experience willing to say, "Hey, this is how you do it." Just once, and that's not great. Um, because, like I said, if there's ever a time when the senior system architect is out of the office and there's not another senior system architect to take up the slack, then what happens? You have to wait. And in some cases, that could be very detrimental. You know, like um, maybe a customer wants a refund for um, they want a refund for a product that they purchased. They find out that it's like defective or something like that. Problem is that the system might not be allowing them to do the refund. Well, if they don't get the refund right away, what are they going to do? They're going to keep on pressing, causing problems for the customer service reps. They're going to be, you know, they're going to be starting to really cause problems for the business. I mean, they could, they might go, "Hey, your product is defective. It's clearly defective. We're having some issues with it. If you don't get this resolved, if you don't refund my money for this, you know, I'll go legal." And, you know, so, um, you know, I'm just putting scenarios out there, you know. of possibilities. So, um, work on helping, um, the new system architect developers to get up to the senior system architect. Work with, go through the mission with them. Help them study. Um, Take some time out of your day to work with them on the mission or studying for the certification or something. You know, Help them out. And it might be beneficial for you as well because you might see, you know, um, they might, put a spin on how you look at things at times. You know, um, you know, a good majority of the time, someone has a different way of solving the problem. Okay, you see it in math all the time. Um, so, you know, um, that might give you some insight as to, you know, okay, if they're seeing it this way, how, maybe it's a failing of like Pega, maybe it's a failing of wording. Um, Maybe they got exposed to like wrong wording, or something along those lines. So work work with their with work with your developers to get to that next stage. Okay. Can't stress that enough. All right. That's it. My alarm's going off. Hey, saying, hey, um, stop. You got your hour. Go, move on. Okay. Um, so yeah. Um, we're gonna go ahead and close on down here. We're gonna move on to the next, which is gonna be, just chatting. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.